In this video, I'll be showing you guys how to use TradingView on the mobile device. So step 1, you simply want to head to either your App Store or your Play Store, depending on the mobile device you're making use of. Over here, I'm making use of an iOS device, so I'm going to head to App Store. Now, once you're here in either App Store or Play Store, you simply want to search for the application itself. Now, once you search for it, all you want to do next is to download and install it on your mobile device. And as you guys can see over here, I have it downloaded and installed. So the next simple thing I want to do is to open the application. Now, once you open the application, this is the exact view it's going to look like. Now, at the bottom, we have the watch list, chart, explore, community, and then menu. Now, the very first thing you want to do is to head to menu, and then you want to create an account. To simply do this, just click on sign in over here. And then at the bottom, you can see sign up. So in case you don't have an account, you just want to click on sign up over here. And then you can simply continue with either your Google account to make the process faster. Once you click on Google, it's automatically going to sync your Google information with TradingView, making the sign up process faster. And in case you want to use a normal email, you can simply just click on email over here. Insert your email address, your username, and then a password, and create an account. So either way, once you've simply created an account, then you would be logged in properly inside the TradingView with your account. So as you guys can see, I've signed up with my tutorial account. Now, what you want to do after signing up is to come here to the watch list. Now, here in the watch list, as you guys can see, we have indices, stocks, futures, forex, and cryptocurrency. Now, what exactly is the watch list about? The watch list is simply the area where you want to set the type of pairs or forex or indices you want to be trading. Now, as you guys can see over here, we have recommended pairs by TradingView itself because we just simply downloaded and installed. Now, all you simply want to do in case you're not interested in any pair over here is to simply just swipe it to the left hand side and click on delete. And in case you want to do multiple deleting, all you simply want to do is to come to the top here where you have those 3 dots. Click on it, click on edit over here, and then you can start selecting all what you're not interested in. And then once you're finally done, all you simply want to do is to click on delete over here. Now, after deleting and you still have particular symbols you want to trade, all you simply have to do is to click on add symbol over here and then search for that particular symbol you want to be trading or analyzing. For example, I'm a lover of gold itself, so I will want to add gold to my watch list. So all I have to do is to type in the symbol itself, which is basically SAL UXD. Then over here, I can simply click on this plus over here. And now I have gold added to my watch list. So in summary, this is what the watch list is about. Just for you to select the symbols that you are okay with trading or analyzing to make your trading chart very, very organized. Now, the next thing at the right hand side, at the bottom, is simply the chart. Now, a chart shows you the exact movement or the exact trend of that particular symbol you want to be trading. Now, in case you don't even just want to click on chart from the bottom, all you simply have to do to go to the chart of a particular symbol is to swipe it to the left hand side and then click on this blue icon. It says trade with your broker. You can simply just cancel this over here, and now you would be brought to the chart of that particular symbol from your watch list. Now, let's dive into what we have on the chart and how to use the tools on the chart itself. Starting with what we have at the bottom, where we have the time frame, this simply represents the time in which a candlestick opens and closes. For example, let's say I want to trade the 15 minutes. All I have to do is to click on 15 minutes over here. Now, each one of these candlesticks, as you guys can see, represents a 15-minute range. A good example, this particular candlestick opened at 6 o'clock. And then it closed at 6:15. And then the next one opened at 6:15 and then closed at 6:30. And then same thing applies to other time frames. Let's look at another example with the 30 minutes. So each of this candlestick, for example, this one opened at 1 o'clock and then it closed at 1:30. and then at 1:30 another candlestick opened, which is this other green, and then closed at 2 o'clock. And then that same 2 o'clock another candlestick opened and then closed at 2:30. And then that same 2:30 another candlestick opened and then closed at 3 o'clock. And then same thing applies to whatever time frame are all you want to use. 1 month, 1 week, it's the same idea. Now, the next thing again at the bottom is the tool icon. So once you click on this pencil, as you guys can see, here we have several drawing tools, starting with trend line itself or normal lines, to the Fibonacci, to patterns, to forecasting, which is basically the long position, short positions, which I'll be explaining. And then we have shapes, annotation, in case you want to just write a text on the chart, or you want to teach people something with your mobile device on TradingView itself, then this is the area where you can as well select annotations and visuals. Now, let's go back to tools or trend lines. Now, trend line, starting with the first one, which is basically trend line. It all depends on what you want to use the tool for. For me, for example, I am more of a trend line trader. So the idea of trend line is to ensure that at least a minimum of 2 points are touching the trend line. A good example is what I just drew over here. We have the point 1 touching, we have point 2 also touching, and then as you guys can see, if you're someone who's going to be using trend line, you can predict that the next drop is going to bounce on this particular trend line, which actually occurred. So if you look at it very well, you can see it bounced on it. And then same thing applies in case you want to do it the opposite way. Let's say you want to draw another trend line from the top, more like you're looking for a breakout. A breakout simply means when price breaks through a certain price. So a good example is over here. So once I draw this very well, I'm trying to draw the areas where the candlestick always bounced down. So as you guys can see over here, every single time it hit this particular trend line, it was always going down. And then finally, the time it actually broke out, it went up to a particular extent and then finally bounced back to the trend line itself. And then finally, it gave a confirmation to buy. So as you guys can see, this is basically how to use trend line. Now, the next tool over here is the normal horizontal lines and several other lines. It all depends on your strategy and it all depends on what you want to use it for. But a whole lot of people use the horizontal line just to look for normal support or resistance levels. And then moving to... So it all depends on what your strategy is. But feel free to explore all the line tools. Now, once you're done, analyzing and you want to clear your chart, all you have to do is to click on the particular tool, delete it, click on it, delete it, click and delete. Now you have your clean chart back. Now, let's look at the next thing, which is basically Fibonacci over here. So this is basically Fibonacci retracement used by a whole lot of traders. The idea of Fibonacci retracement is to look at possible areas where a trend can bounce to before going back to its normal trend. Now, let me explain what I just said properly. For example, if you're looking at an uptrend, ideally, while it's going up, you don't just want to enter while it is going bullish. You want to enter where it retraces down and gives a confirmation before joining the trend. Now, this is how you use Fibonacci retracement. You want to take this bottom if you're looking at an uptrend, because gold right now is basically an uptrend. You want to take this down part of the Fibonacci retracement to a recent low. So if I take this to a recent low, as you guys can see, the next thing you want to do is to take the upper part to a recent high. Now, if you guys notice this Fibonacci retracement properly, you see that there are a whole lot of lines the trend actually bounced to before continuing in the uptrend. So this is an example over here. It actually bounced on one of the lines, continued. Then if you're someone looking at this uptrend, it's going up. You don't just want to join inside the green candlestick. You want to wait for the trend to bounce down towards one of the Fibonacci retracement lines. Wait for a confirmation, which is after the red, you wait for another green, then buy. And then that's the idea of Fibonacci retracement. This is how it works for the uptrend. And then same thing applies for the downtrend. It's the same idea. Now, let's move towards where we have the forecasting and measurement tools. Now, the two most used forecasting and measurement tools here are the long position and short position. The idea is simply for you to see where you entered in terms of buying a particular pair or buying a particular symbol, and then where you want to exit, which is basically called the take profit, and then where you want to come out in case it's going against you, which is basically called the stop loss. So now once I click on long position over here and then I click on anywhere on the chart, as you guys can see, let me just delete this Fibonacci retracement. As you guys can see, we have the forecasting long position too. So the line in the middle signifies where you entered, and then the line at the top, which is basically this green, is something you're going to set depending on where you want to come out from the trade. And then the line at the bottom signifies your stop loss. So a good example is, let's go to the recent part of this particular trade. Let's say I want to enter here. All right, I see my particular strategy and then I enter with my normal, probably MT5 or something. Then I'm going to place the line at the middle as my entry. And then I'm going to use this red as my stop loss. And then this is going to represent where I want to come out in case it's going very well in my direction. So that's basically how to use the long position forecasting too. And then same thing applies with the short position. This is basically just the reverse. All right, in case you want to sell, all right, this is where you use the short position. All right, the middle also signifies where you want to enter, and then the up this time signifies your stop loss, and the bottom this time signifies your take profit. So that's basically how to use these forecasting tools. Now let's move towards the next things over here, which is basically geometric shapes. Now, a whole lot of geometric shapes are being used by a whole lot of traders for different purposes. But for me, for example, I always use the brush in case I want to explain things to you guys. Hi, don't forget to subscribe, all right? Or in case I just want to use the rectangle shape. Now, a whole lot of people use rectangle shape just to show consolidation areas. What I mean by consolidation areas are simply areas where price are moving up and down. That is, there's a range in which price is moving up and down. This is a good example. Let's come down here to where we have a consolidation moment. Now, as you guys can see over here, this particular area at the bottom, you can see price came down, started going up, coming down in the same area. This is an example of a consolidation area. So a whole lot of people use this rectangle to mark out consolidation areas, and then they wait for a breakout. So as you guys can see, it finally broke out over here. All right, it finally broke out, and then we had a retracement and finally a confirmation. This green became a clear confirmation. So a whole lot of people use this rectangle just to show consolidation areas based on their strategy. So this is basically how to use the rectangle, and like I said, feel free to explore using the tool for several other things. It all depends on what your strategy is. Now, the next thing over here is basically the annotation in case you want to write something on the chart. Like I said, that's in case you're teaching people something, or you just want a guide for yourself on your TradingView chart itself. Let's say next week you're focusing on buys. You can simply use the text and then write it down on your chart so as to remind yourself daily that I'm only focusing on buys this week. Good. That's basically how the text and then visuals are called. This is basically just emojis, in case you want to add emojis to your chat. I love you guys. All right. Thanks for watching. So that's basically all you need to know about TradingView in terms of the main aspects. Now, as you guys can see again, at the bottom, we have this particular, rectangle. This rectangle just shows in case you want a full screen. This is the last one. All right, this one over here. In case you want the full screen or you want your tools to appear. Now, the final and next thing at the bottom here is the explore. This is in case you just want to look at the news, you want to know what's happening, on a particular pair, or you want to see if you have serious news or impactful news today or every other day. Then this is the area where you want to come to. Just come here to explore and learn more about any symbol at all. Now we have the community as well. This is the area where a whole lot of people show their strategies, their prediction, what they believe. People can as well chat over here. And then the final one here is the menu itself, which is basically where you have settings and other things you can do with it. And in case you want to change your screen to light mode instead of a dark mode like me, just click on settings over here and then click on theme. Now over here in theme, you can see we have the light mode. All right. And then in case you want the dark mode just like me, just want to click on dark mode. All right. And that's basically how it works. And that brings us to the end of today's video. If you surely learned a whole lot about this TradingView in this video and you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, drop a like on the video, and feel free to share this video with your friends and family members. And I'll see you guys in my next highly informative video. Thanks for watching.